welcome to episode 201 of Fans of Power. I'm Nathan Kennedy, here with Joe Amato. Got a couple topics today, some stuff to talk about. Joe is going to be talking about She-Ra Season 4. Why, I will get into that later, but I'll pass it on to Joe, see how he's doing, and we'll acknowledge everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, and can you have some patience, Lacey Dean? Jesus, it's been 1 minute, but yeah, hello to Zentron, Lacey Dean, Zen Brown, Descendants of Grayskull has joined us. Good to see you here. JSP, Grimbot, and Fedmon. So that's everybody that's here so far. And Brad Collins just popped up too.
I guess there is something we could address at the top of the show, because JSP asked us, are you guys nervous as I am about this crap with YouTube and the FTC? Well...
you're going to have to say it, Nathan, because I don't understand all the context. I don't even know what the hell that was meaning, but go ahead with that.
Basically, YouTube got hit with a huge fine because certain shows like Pixel Dan or anyone that, like toy reviews or whatever, that kids would be clicking on and ads would roll out to them that probably weren't necessarily targeted for them, and there's a lot of legality and everything going on with that. So basically... what has happened now is I have to look at the settings, and it's basically a couple of boxes. Is this channel for kids? And I'm like, well, on a base thing, I guess, based off of what we're talking about, sure. But with the language or whatever, and especially when we're doing live, we don't know what'll happen. Joe might knock over everything, and we'll get a few F-bombs or whatever. So I had to.
That's when it happens.
I had to mark the channel as it's not for kids, and I also had to set the setting on this for 18 and older, just in case, to kind of cover our asses for it. So, but I mean, you think about it. There's probably not too many kids that are popping in here. It's like, oh yeah, Masters. It's mostly guys in our age range, and ladies too, that are checking it out. So it mostly affects those channels that get money for the videos. This channel makes no money, so
we didn't get no money.
So in that regard, it's nothing to worry about, because it's basically, if you mark that as not for kids, then it affects the monetization of the videos. And for someone like a Pixel Dan, then, you know, that's their livelihood. That's cutting out from them. So I don't, nothing for me to be concerned about, but I guess it's sort of moving forward when you think about it. YouTube will probably kind of go the way that, like, video games, movies, whatever. I'm sure there'll have to be a thing where you have to go in ahead of time and set a video for, like, whatever they decide to do, because that's probably the best way to go about it. Like, this is TV 14 or TV MA or whatever they end up wanting to call it. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I first heard on Facebook. One of my friends, he made mention of that, and I was just kind of, I was lost. I was like, I don't even know the context of what you were talking about. But then he started getting a little into it, like you were saying about, well, it could affect channels that, yes, make money off of, ad revenue and everything and all the clicks. And I was like, well, I don't think we'll ever have to worry about that.
And I think even if we were to reach that point, it's not something I'd want to. I don't really care about the money part of it. None of this stuff was ever started with the intention of, oh, we're going to make loads of money where I can quit my job. No, that's never going to happen. But
and there are those that do that.
Yes.
And I feel bad for if, like you said, they have to change things up. Like, wow, they could be losing out of money. I mean, I feel for them, but I was like, yeah, I don't think we'd ever have to worry, and we're going to, like you said, we always keep it to where, yeah, we might cuss once in a while. Like when we're doing a cursing, it's not like we're cursing in a negative way. Like it might be, I dropped something. Oh shit.
But if we're looking at it like in a movie context, I think PG-13, you're allowed one fuck. Any more than that, then you're automatically rated R. So I guess.
Oh, I didn't know there was an amount.
Yeah, so there's like a thing to it. It's gonna happen. I'm not gonna sit here and censor myself for anything or anybody. Like, obviously there is a line. I'm not gonna say other thing, but if I curse, I curse. And speaking of cursing, I'm gonna go ahead and announce this now. You guys check out the Beyond Retro channel here in a couple weeks, because Joe and I are gonna start a new show. It's going to be another live interactive show, but it'll be a little more laid back. Not like this isn't, but you know what I mean. So I think we're going to debut that here in a couple weeks, and it's going to be Saturday.
And it won't be Masters related,
yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah, it won't be Masters related. It'll be us talking about other stuff, whether it's, movie news that came out this week or things we've been watching. It'll just sort of be like two guys hanging out and chilling and talking about stuff that's going on. And that'll be Saturdays at 8 p.m. We're looking to do that every week, maybe. There'll probably be some weeks in between. But the title of this show is going to be The Drunk and the Masked Man, because that tells you everything you need to know.
You guys know who...
Yeah. You know exactly what you're in for. So we hope that when we start doing that, you guys kind of pop in there like you do for this show, because it'll be live and we'll interact with all you guys like we do on here.
Yep, there you go. And everybody that was earlier saying something, I'll acknowledge you guys all when we come to the part of the show where we take questions. Just in case you wonder why I don't get everybody, I figured it'd be a better way of streamlining this show too. How we talk, I introduce people at the beginning. If other people pop up, I'll get you guys when we do the question and answer part of the show later on. But I want to, like I said, the first thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the She-Ra, but I want to give a little context to something else, and that's Sonic the Hedgehog. Remember why? And really, you know where I'm going to go, but I'm just going to go with this for people to follow.
No, well, hey, I mean, that kind of was like a decent major bit of news.
Yes,
piece.
And it even shocked Nathan, because back when they first showed that trailer, and it was a hot mess, passionate fans of a property they love spoke up and said something. And the people at Paramount, they said, you know what, we're actually going to listen to you guys. We're going to go back and we're going to fix Sonic. And even Nathan at the time thought, Joe, I doubt they're really going to change it that much, if at all. I think this is just something to try to, hey, they're doing damage control. They don't want to piss people off. But then, bam, what happens just like, later in the week? I mean, this week, they showed that trailer of Sonic the Hedgehog. Jesus, did they do great. I mean, everything people complained about, like those beady little eyes, the goofy nose, the mouth with the teeth, no gloves, the wrong shoes, the weird fur, everything that was complained about was changed, and it looks amazing. Now, of course, is this going to be an Oscar movie? No, it's just a fun family movie. But if I'm wanting to go see Sonic, I would hope that they're giving it to where it looks like it's paying homage to what we grew up and what fans have loved all these years. I'll let you say something about it, but you'll see where I'm going with it. But what did you think when you seen the change? Because it's a shocker.
Kudos to them. Kudos for listening. Kudos for changing it and actually making it look more like the Sonic that everyone knows and loves. But that doesn't change the fact that the movie still looks like garbage.
Not like for you. Yeah, you might think it's gonna suck. It'll look like garbage. But to me, it looks like a fun family movie, and I am looking forward to it.
And it could also be a double-edged sword of this company listened and caved into this, and now that might open up everything to, we don't like this, you better change it. And if they don't, then where do you go from there? So,
but the double-edged sword of what you're just talking about is what I'm going to get to. Sonic somehow was spared of the name calling, because when you said we didn't like the look of Sonic the Hedgehog in this new movie, the normal name drops that everybody likes to call us fans that grow up with it, they couldn't say it because he's a hedgehog, so they couldn't use a lot of the sexist and homophobic or racist, whatever they like shooting at people. They couldn't say it because it's Sonic. Now, this is what I want to explain to you guys. That's how we are about everything. We're just passionate. We are not sexist fans. We're not racist. We're not homophobic.
You can't speak for everybody. I'm sure that there are some of those that toe the line and they're like, but they're also really homophobic and racist. So,
but no, I mean there could be idiots. I mean we know that there could be idiots, but the majority of fans,
idiots everywhere.
There are. Yeah. There really are. But what I'm saying is the majority of fans, especially here, and when it comes to He-Man and She-Ra, passionate. We don't like seeing some things change. It's like it'll get so changed and it's then so far removed from the original source material. It's like this doesn't even have the embodiment of what was She-Ra or what was He-Man.
So why even call it that to begin with? Just make a new IP, but people can't do that anymore.
No, and it sure doesn't seem like they can. And like I said, that's when it comes to She-Ra. I was like, okay, here comes season 4, and everybody was like, Joe, you're gonna watch all the season. Now I'm gonna let you know. I could only sit through 4 episodes. Like, I can't sit through how many this season 1 is. I was like, I might get to the rest. I don't know, but I was like, what I sat through, I was like,
how many episodes are in this season?
I don't know if it's 12 or 13 or something. Somebody in the chat room will probably eventually get it, but it's like, again, everything they do, it's so far removed that She-Ra still is not the essence and core of this cartoon. And I know they'll say, well, that's not what it's supposed to be, Joe. Okay, you could say that, but anybody that's tuned into any of the shows when we watched She-Ra back then, or He-Man, or anything with these main characters who was in the title, the premise usually focuses on them, and everybody else around them, it's not like they're secondary. They're just as important, but it still will be the focal point of this character. She-Ra is still just so damn secondary. She's popped up a little more frequent in this so far from these first 4 episodes, still never being addressed as She-Ra except by some people in a village of Elberon. Those people actually called her She-Ra, but even Bo in that same episode calls She-Ra Adora, which just drives me nuts.
I'll ask you this, Joe. At this point, are people expecting anything to change? Like, they've set ahead what they're going to do. Okay, like, all of that has been set in motion. Like, none of that's going to revert back all of a sudden and change. Like,
meaning they like to always focus saying, well, unlike the original cartoons and a lot of cartoons and comics from back in the day where there were good one-off episodes, this one is just basically taking one episode and just dragging out the story. So you might as well say a whole season is one episode because they just keep dragging the story out. So you would think that in some point, if they're trying to grow, as they said, and have depth in this cartoon, at some point they'd realize, let's respect her and start calling her as who she is. Give her respect of being this star and this hero. So we'll get to some of that. But the other things they do is just the way the humor is still just drives me nuts. I keep hating how, unlike the original She-Ra, where men and women treated each other equally and did not make one feel like they're less than each other, they still haven't stopped doing that with the guys. They still won't stop putting them down, making it like they're the buffoons, they're the ones that are cracking the jokes, the ones that are crying, the ones that are worthless. They won't stop with that. How it starts, they're a coronation for Glimmer. And there comes the florist. And the florist happens to be a guy this time. And a muscled guy. He's this muscled white guy, and he's bringing up these flowers or something. And there came like a little conversation between Glimmer and Castaspella, and something about they didn't like the flowers. And then Castaspella looked at that guy and said, "Oh, that's it, you're fired." And he goes and starts crying and runs off the screen. I'm like, why are they emasculating all the men? Why do they make men look like buffoons in this cartoon? The original She-Ra, like I said, didn't make women look like they were less than men or men less than women. But I see so many things, and you'll notice when you're watching it, it just doesn't stop. Men are not respected. Men are stupid. It's like, why do you have to put out this message that is not needed? Just tell a good-ass story in a cartoon.
Because, Joe, they got to get the agenda across, all right? Like, that's all it is. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's, here's what this is. Why are we still talking about this show, Joe?
I don't know, but I'm going to mention 2 characters that pissed me off in this show. You ready?
Well, isn't there one character? I don't know if it's in this. I don't know. I haven't kept up with this. That people are making like a huge deal about. Is this?
Well, no. I mean, there's a character that maybe people could be making a big deal about, but I'm going to tell you why this character annoys the hell on me. It's Double Trouble. Double Trouble in the original She-Ra mini comics and the Golden Books and the story.
That's the one.
Okay, in the original mini comics and stories, is a female and is also a double agent working basically for the Great Rebellion, but doing spying work on, with the evil horde and bringing the information back to She-Ra. Well, now the roles are reversed. Now it's Double Trouble is working for the horde, but then sneaks into She-Ra's, the base for all the Princess Alliance and passes and is doing the double agent. But here's the thing. Just like how when we said, hey, I don't like it when they take a man and turn it into a woman, they're like, why you say that? Because you're sexist? No, because this is how a character's always been. On that same line of thinking, I don't like that they took a female human, Double Trouble, and now made Double Trouble into a male alien creature with a tail and ears. It's like, couldn't have kept her a female? So don't think it just is one way. We don't like it when you're just changing things all together to change. But yeah, now Double Trouble is some male alien creature that is a shapeshifter. So because apparently they like to rag on Double Trouble, saying, oh well, the only thing she did back in the old days, stupid, is she could like morph her face into an evil face. Oh, that's creative. Well, it's just how it was back then, but it still worked for what it was supposed to be. But so they changed her, and then here came Flutterina. And when I first seen Flutterina, I was pissed because I was like, okay, now they've taken a character that's, a tall woman and shrunk her into this weird pixie alien thing or whatever. I was like, why does everything have to change so drastically? But here's the thing. From what I've seen in the first 4 episodes, that's why I might be wrong with something. Flutterina isn't even a character. Flutterina is a role that Double Trouble is playing. Double Trouble has become the character Flutterina, but Flutterina has never been shown yet. So I'm wondering, is Flutterina even going to exist in this cartoon as an actual character, or just the role that Double Trouble plays? Because Double Trouble likes to get into the character he plays. And he created a character called Flutterina, and to look like a small, cute little pixie thing. But I'm like, I just don't understand the drastic changes. It's like you guys had Twiggets, you had Cal, you had Lookie, you had Broom, Madame Raz, you had, like different races. Yes, I know Madame Raz is in here, but it ain't the same. But the Twiggets and all the alien and fantasy creatures were just removed in this cartoon. And now, instead of bringing them characters into this cartoon, you're changing existing characters into weird creatures and races, or making new ones. Like you said, why even call it She-Ra?
Joe, I don't know what to say anymore. Like,
I know
at this point, it's going to be out there. It's going to exist. It's going to end soon, from what I'm gathering here in the chat room. So, for those of us that...
Oh, did they say that? Because I haven't seen the chat room.
Yeah,
I had it on...
for those of us that don't particularly enjoy it, we'll all breathe a sigh of relief when it's finally over. But we go back on the stance, too. If you guys are liking it and digging it, that's cool. No problem with that.
Sure.
But, yeah, at this point, especially if you're going to kind of have an underlying agenda, because we're not going to... They've been open about that. We're not going to sugarcoat that either. Like,
oh, yeah, they're not denying it. They've done videos on it, yeah.
A mindset going into this, if this is what we want to do. Why not just call it something else? Do your own thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no sense in taking an established IP and just kind of retooling and reworking like that. But that's the way it works now. Like, companies are like, oh, hey, let's do another Transformers. Let's do this, let's do that, because that's really all it is. Like, anything. Like, my God, did we really need another Terminator movie? No, we didn't. They've watered that down so much, sequel after sequel, that when this one comes out, I'm like, you made another one? It's already too soon. 2, like, I don't care anymore. And then it bombs, and then they're like scratching their heads. Well, I didn't expect that. It's like, people get tired of shit like that after a while. Just come up with new, fresh ideas, and stop trying.
Yeah, and don't get preachy.
Don't get preachy about it. Yeah,
preachy. Yeah, they love being preachy, but it was like, not just tell a damn good story, make a fun cartoon that people can enjoy. But when you're being preachy and preaching to us, and in videos even saying, this is what I'm talking about with the cartoon, and you're right, there's no hiding what they said that they're making the cartoon for, the reason for making it. It's just, why does it always have to be an agenda? Just make a fun cartoon so we can enjoy it. That's what they did back then. That's all we want. So, and again, if we were so sexist, we would have hated She-Ra from the beginning, but we haven't. We've celebrated her and kept her alive for over 30 years in fandoms.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, and the only thing that gets me more confused in this cartoon is, do they know? Do they want She-Ra to be strong or not strong? Because, like, there's times, oh, she finally did something. She finally lifted up this heavy-ass rock. She's just destroying all this stuff. But in, like, another scene earlier, she's with Perfuma, she's with Bo, and she's with Huntara. They're walking in an alley, and there's 3 robot troopers, or whatever, the troopers in their armor, and then 2 other ones, 5 troopers that surround them, and they're panicking and running, and She-Ra's cutting down a barrel to distract them. I'm like, why are you running, She-Ra? I mean, if you can take out these rocks and these giant things by yourself, now you're here with 3 other people. Why are you running from 5 simpleton morons that you could take out in a second? So sometimes she's super strong. Sometimes, I don't know, just my head hurts. Yeah. So I was like, I don't even know if I can make it through the rest of them. I tried.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, maybe I won't. I just won't.
And talking about this kind of ties in with something else to me, too, because I did subscribe. I caved and subscribed to Disney Plus. and they have the stuff, and it didn't pop up on mine because I don't think I set any of the profiles to like this is a kid watching this stuff, but they have stuff ahead of time that's like, oh, this is sensitive and this was for the time. Like, just own up to that. Like, who cares? All of us watched all that stuff back in the day, and you know what? There's not one part in my brain that's like, oh, well, maybe that's like underlying racist or something. No, like that. Yeah. It's weird how the world has just completely flipped up over on itself all of a sudden. I mean, it's kind of been gradual, but to me, it sort of felt sudden. It's like all the oldest content. It's like, that's the way the world was. That's the way stuff was. Is some stuff kind of insensitive? And you look at it now, it's like, oh man, they actually did that? Yeah, of course it is. But you can't just sit here and backtrack or like edit and take out things or not put it up because of this. Like, put it out there. It exists. That's the way it is. Like, I don't... Why do people have to be so sensitive to every single little thing? Anything. It blows my mind. I don't get it. Like, if you don't like something, don't watch it. If something something bothers you on the TV screen, like, just watch something else. Like, who cares? Like, there is stuff out there for everybody. Like, just go do something else. Really. Like, whatever.
And I will. And really, like I said, I'll take your advice. And even from like with Tyler, I just won't finish. I'm not going to finish this season.
I don't even know why you did it in the first place, Joe. You got to stop torturing
Because I was like, you know what? I want to see how. I was like, I just got to see how season 4 starts. And then if somebody says something to me like, you didn't see, I'm like, yeah, well, I seen this. But like, you know what? That's it. I did these 4 episodes. I'm done. And like you said, for people that like it, enjoy it, have a blast with it. But yes, it is just. It's not for me. I'm
still going to stick with the thing that you secretly love it and you just don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, right when we get off here, it's like, oh god, I got to binge. Let me go watch 5, 6, 7, 8.
I want to start it over from the beginning again.
Wouldn't that be sick?
Sitting there, like, checking the blinds, looking outside, making sure no one's, like, peeking in to watch you.
That would be bad. No, so I'm done with it. But there, I wanted to give my thoughts on it because, there were people wondering, hey, when are you going to say something about season 4? There, I said.
I mean,
but from there.
Well, I mean, if people are asking you about this, they would have to assume, right, that your opinion hasn't changed on it since this started.
Maybe they just get a kick out of it. Maybe
it feels like this show has been out for like 7 years already.
And it's only been one, hasn't it?
Like, I think so. I don't know. It's all blurring together now, Joe.
It's bad. So yeah, I'm done with it. But now we're going to discuss a comic and after we're done with the comic, we'll get to any questions you guys have. But it's not really a mini comic, but when the 2000X line came out, we didn't have mini comics, which sucked because it would have been nice having mini comics with all the figures. Yeah. But then within a 2-pack with He-Man and Skeletor, we got a comic.
Well, here, Joe, give me 1 second, and I can. There we go. Let me adjust your camera a little bit, but.
Okay. All right, I'm going to wait because I got that 20-second delay, so I'll have to see what you pop up there.
There we go. I have a little black bar in between us, but yeah.
You're going to think this sounds absolutely nuts. My pet peeve of this whole comic when I got it was, what the hell's the name of it? You know what I mean? I was like, I always want to see a title of something or some like text on the front. I was like, okay, there's no text on the front, but when I go inside, there'll be a name. And I was like, and people could correct me in the chat room if I'm wrong, but I was like, I don't think they officially gave this a title. Like a Clash of Arms, Double-Edged Sword. It's like, had nothing. So, it's a cool ass comic though.
It's kind of strange that they decided to just go like full comic size for it as well. You would think that maybe it would be cheaper to produce a smaller like mini comic size to put in there because that would also help with the packaging size and everything else. So yeah, it's a weird choice. And this,
I never thought of that. What you just said, I never thought of that. But Jeff, that could have been a mini comic.
But
that would have been cool as shit.
But at the same time, this wasn't like this wasn't in every store. This was a Target exclusive, correct?
I'm trying to remember if it was Target or Toys R Us because I know Target. They both stores had exclusives of certain 2-packs, but I'm thinking this was Target. And again, correct me guys in chat room, but I think Target is the one that had this comic because I think Toys R Us might have had the Wolf Armor and Snake Armor versions, Wolf Armor, He-Man, Snake Armor, Skeletor. It wouldn't be funny if I reversed them, but either way, when I seen that there was a comic in this, like I said, yeah, a mini one would have been cool, but this was kind of cooler. You had this gigantic big ass comic, and it was fun to read one in that size after all the years too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember as well if there was any point where Tyler and I were out in our ventures trying to find these guys and were in a Target and saw this. I can't recall, but I'm sure if it was there, it probably didn't last too long on the shelf. Or if I did see it, I was probably like, well, I already got He-Man and Skeletor already, which is the problem.
And
that's the problem you run into with that.
Most
people's like, well, I already have this. Why do I need that?
Yeah, and I would have. Yeah, you're exactly right. If that comic wouldn't have been there, there would have never been a sense of me getting the 2-pack. It's just like back in the day. Now I regret back in the day when they had Masters of the Universe, and it's like I got Land Shark, I have Battle Armor Skeletor. Why do I want this stupid, box set of both of them? And then now you see them online. It's, oh, that's almost $1,000.
Wait, what?
It had original art on it.
Really?
Oh, these things are. Oh, Nathan, you don't even want to. If you go to eBay and check out the gift boxes and gift packs, the prices are nuts for the stuff back in the 80s because it had original art from like William George on, all the main ones. Right. And but for somebody like me, it's like I have these, I don't need them. The biggest ones that are crazy are these gift set boxes, I think, of like 3 heroic warriors or 3 evil warriors. If you find those, and I'm hoping somebody here again in the chat might say it, I thought it was like almost $10,000 or more for this 3-figure pack. Wow. I was like, I'd piss myself if I went to a flea market and that was sitting there.
I mean, you would be the one that would find it for like cheap.
That was my luck. Like I said, around here we never get anything He-Man related in flea markets. It's like I said, the City of the Dead, just no life. I was like, how did I grow up here and have these figures? Because nobody has them at any flea market or yard sales. But when I went to that one, and the person that came there was a vendor for just that weekend, he had the Land Shark Battle Armor Skeletor thing. And just had it, like I said, right up there. I think it was $15 he had it for. I'm trying to remember the price, but I lost. I'm sitting there shaking. I'm doing a stupid way of talking. I'm trying to, maybe it'd be good. Hey, my girlfriend likes sharks. Maybe she'll like this. I don't know what He-Man is. And yeah, so that's how I got that sucker.
It's been a long time since I've come across something at a flea market that actually made me like shake when I was going to either pay for it or ask how much they wanted. I can't remember the last time. The flea markets around here used to be pretty good, but over time, it's like the same beat up stuff over and over and over again. I'm like, it's disheartening how much has changed in like 10 years.
Yeah, I can imagine that really sucking. And well, before we get into this comic, because I'd love to hear your first impressions of it, I just want to send well wishes and prayers, to Tags Media Animations for your son. Hope he keeps getting better and well and everything. So. Yeah, saying a prayer for him, man. Hope everything is getting better for him.
Right on.
But, no, go ahead, because this is the first time you probably read this, right?
Yeah, it is the first time, and if you guys want to join along, just to open up your mini comic collection and turn to page 1135, and that'll bring you right there to it. But, it's kind of... I think what they were wanting to do, because Val Staples did the story for this, and Emiliano did the penciling and the artwork and everything. I think what they were trying to establish here, because I read the little interview with Val after this in the book, that there weren't really any plans moving forward with doing mini comics with the figures. That's what he wanted to do, and honestly, that's what I was gonna ask you about before I even read that in here when I was reading the comic. That it does seem kind of strange that they didn't do that, because I think that would have been a nice little touch to go with, and especially like the people that grew up with it and the ones that were collecting it at the time. It's a nice little callback, give you a little warm fuzzies about being a kid and looking at the mini comics. So I mean, in terms of the story, it's kind of something that we've seen a lot of. They're having a break. The Skeletor wants to break into the castle. I mean, it's not. It doesn't blow you away, but I think in the context of this was a one-off, and that's kind of what you would want to do and what you would want to have with this. And I think it's also a good introductory too, if you think about it. Like if you're a kid and you're picking this up off the shelf, you know nothing about it, or say like your dad bought it for you or something. It's a good way of establishing like, here's your good guys.
Main characters.
Here's your bad guys. Yeah,
the good guys.
Yeah, so
so
it's not something that oh wow, like blows you away. But no, it's a perfectly good and well, like basic, like, yeah, good and evil. Here's your guys.
It
Yeah.
is, and it is. It's like you said. It's a one-off story. It introduces, like you said, the main good guys and bad guys. Throws in a couple vehicles there towards the end. Like, okay, you might want to obviously try to help sell the toys, but also with the art style, it would look similar, obviously, to what you'd be seeing on TV. So if there could be the kids that maybe have never watched the cartoon, and this 2-pack with this comic, they got to track through and read like, wow, this looks really fun, and then it might make them want to watch the
Yeah.
cartoon. I can see what they're doing, but like you said, it's just the premise of a good versus evil. It has the beginning, middle, end. It's not something that's dragged out because, like you said, it's a one-off story. But you do get to see some of the characteristics of the main characters, and they sure showcase like when you've seen Whiplash and Clawful, especially Whiplash. They made him look so massive and just intimidating. That would make me want to, as a kid, say, wow, I'd love to see this big sucker. And and seeing Clawful too, but a little homage to some of the Filmation cartoons with He-Man bending back, Trapjaw's gun.
I was actually gonna bring that up. That was a nice touch. It's something that you had to think about. It's like, well, if we can incorporate some sort of thing that people that watch the cartoon and be like, yes, that's a nice call. But yeah. That's one of the things right there. And by the way, thank you, Lacey Dean, for saying that he loves how I'm intertwining images into the podcast. Joe was actually supposed to send me pictures of some of his favorite parts of the comics, so I could put them up here too, but he didn't do that for me.
Well, I couldn't get the pictures exactly like how I wanted, because here's the thing: that comic, which I have, I don't like retouching to mess up.
Yeah,
and then the big mini comic collection book, it was. Yeah, I'm real particular when it comes to certain comics. Like, oh no, there's no way I'd ever scan this. I'm not going to bend a page or wrinkle
this is
nothing.
Staying in the bag and board forever.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I bagged and boarded. Well, all my include this. All my ones from back in the 80s. So, well, of course, my mini comics are in a nice little binder, but they're all sealed. But the mini comic collection book, it was just kind of hard for me to try to get scans or push. I just can't do it. And I figured at least that will, for people to see this, like you said, maybe it'll make them then want to try to search out this 2-pack and find that comic, or get the mini comic collection book from Dark Horse and see it all themselves. So it's not like we spoil everything. Like you said, we give you a taste of a little bit of what's in it. But what I hope is, see, like I said, I always enjoy these one-off stories. In the day and age we are now with comics, and as we've said before, cartoons, they're a lot more focused on continuity. You don't get too many one-off stories. Right. I mean, and when you do, it's rare. It's few and far between. But it's like you have to watch this episode because you have to see this in the comics. Oh, I can't go into issue 4. I have to see 1, 2, 3. But that's why I'm hoping when the new WWE Origins line comes out and looks like there have been mini comics with them. I know you might not be a fan. I'm super excited.
Well, all right. Well, is the plan with those to have an original story with those WWE characters within, or are like the Masters characters also going to show up in these?
Well, I'll finish on both of them. As for the WWE Masters of the Universe ones, I don't know if it's just going to be just them, or if they're
Masters of the WWE Universe, right?
Yeah, I better get it right. You're right. If you're going to say it, I better say it right.
You got me. I always hated the term that they started, instead of calling them fans, they call it the universe. I hate it.
I still hate it.
No.
We would have never got this cool title for the comics and toys, but I hate when they say, well, you are the WWE Universe. I'm like, it feels so forced.
Yeah, it's too corny.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe that Tyler gets when he always hears the heroes refer to themselves as, we are the Masters of the Universe. Like, so I could, but no. So the ones that have come with the WWE figures, I don't know if it's going to implement any of the people from, Masters of the Universe. They look cool, but when it comes to the actual Masters of the Universe Origins figures, they're going to have mini comics, and I'm hoping that each one is a good one-off story. I don't want to feel like I have to read the one from Beastman and Teela and Trapjaw and this to connect. Just let them all have their own cool individual story. I think it would be fun, just like we had back in the day. I'm hoping. I don't know if people in the chat room know anything about it, but that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I don't know. There is part of me that most of these companies now, I could see the mini comics sort of falling in line with like the Build-A-Figure stuff. You got to collect them all, because if you want to finish the story, you got to get this figure to get the other book, because it all connects. I could totally see that happening.
I could, but I hope it doesn't. I hope, since it seems like they're right on the ball this time, at least trying to, like when you look at the figures, and I'm sure the packaging will have that same kind of like vibrant feel like it did back in the 80s. Maybe the mini comics can have that one-off stories. It's, like when you're talking about 2000X figures, that was the unfortunate thing. Beyond not having any mini comics with it, just the packaging is the most bland, boring thing you ever see. It's like the front's like, you turn it around, it's the picture of the figure standing there with figures around. I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah, that's better than the Errol McCarthy art and the stuff that we used to get back in the day.
It's surprising that they went that way with it. Just kind of uninspired. Mini comic gone, packaging just sort of a lot to be desired.
Isn't that a shocker? Because think of it. Think of back in the day. Like I said, we're pretty much, we're done with this comic because, like I said, we gave a little context. You guys can still read it. But, yeah, let's kind of move into what you're saying right there. It wasn't just the figures that we're in love with back then. It was the art, the box art, and those mini comics. It all sucked you in. Masters of the Universe, I'm not saying other toy lines didn't do it. Of course, other ones did. But Masters of the Universe had a way of attracting you as a kid to those damn figures. And they tried as much as they can, and I miss that, and I hope they can give us all that same feeling again when we get the origin stuff. So let's hope those are at least one-off stories.
It was like,
I think Axel's doing art.
Well, it's like all that stuff back then had a bit of a gimmick to it. These had the mini comics. You think about G.I. Joe's having the bio cards on the back that you could cut out. Same thing with Ninja Turtles. So it was like an extra little added bonus. You already have your figure, but here's something else that you can kind of collect along the way. And maybe it was just part of the times. Because, I don't know.
Do you think people just had lost their attention span? Maybe when 2000s, when it came around towards the beginning, they figured, who cares? We don't need to give them stories. We don't need to give them, backgrounds, bios.
And maybe the figure. I don't know. Maybe their mindset going into it as well is they knew that most of the people that were going to be collecting it were going to be older, and maybe one of the figures, or they were like, maybe kids don't have as much interest in the comics because comics themselves in this time weren't really flying off the shelves and kind of really haven't since after that comic book crash in the 90s. So maybe that was part of it too. Maybe they're like, kids don't care about the comics, they just want the figures. So maybe hard to tell.
It could be almost like, and like Grimbot even said, it could be just them just wanting to cut costs. Because they really did save. Unlike the other, like I said, Master of the Universe, this was really cost cut efficient. Because and think about the commercials. What do we see? Like 3 commercials for the 2000X figures? I can't even remember how many I've seen. I was like, and they didn't have the life. Back in the 80s, those kids took that damn role seriously. And you guys will know what I'm talking about in the chat room. Maybe even you, Nathan. Like that one kid in the 80s commercial when he was Skeletor going, "Arr!" And you seen the kid making the face. It's like he was getting into that role. Those kids made the commercials just as fun as seeing the toys.
Well, that's the way that it was with practically anything. One of the commercials for like 80s, early 90s to mid 90s that always sticks out in my mind is Crossfire. Like you look at that and you're like, holy shit, they're in this battle arena and oh man, like you have to have Crossfire. Like it's like the company's just lost the ambition to like really push the agenda. Oh, hey, let's make this really cool, make the kids actually really want these toys. Yeah, it was a weird time in the late 90s and early 2000s, and kind of almost since then. Everything's lazy. Everything's lazy.
Yeah, it does seem
that
way.
And then they're just like, let's go back. Those guys that were 8 years old at the time, they're in their mid 30s or over 40 now. Yeah, let's hit them with the retro packaging. They'll eat it up. Yeah, it's weird.
And half the time we do. It is weird. But that's that main conversation. But like I said, I missed all your stuff in the chat room. So anything you guys said earlier, if you have questions for us now pertaining to Masters or anything else, start popping up right now and we'll get to it. And then meantime, I'll just see. Well, a lot of people that I see have just popped up. Like, well, I think I said Mike Shamp, but Jason Johnston got here. Papa Huds, El10 does. So we'll see if somebody will get some stuff. And Zentron said I may lose the Venger vibe to my Shadow Weaver redesign, Joe, by the way. Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, Venger and Dungeons & Dragons, that's something that used to upset me.
Like we're going back to that again, how they never finished it in the car commercial.
No, not the cartoon. We just never got no figures. Why did Dungeons & Dragons never get no figures? The only thing that got it was a role-playing board game called Fantasy Forest, and I think there was a variant one that came with a couple little mini figures from the cartoon, but I always thought they'd be great, and especially this day and age where they love doing the reboots and bringing back hot stuff from the '80s. I'm telling you, there is that culture, and there's that
Yeah.
cult following for Dungeons and Dragons. I think
depending on who has the license these days, maybe something will happen at some point. Tags Media said WWE Ghostbusters, and I saw the pictures of those when they were announced, and I finally saw some of them in Walmart. I think it was last week.
Oh, those are store things? I thought it was an exclusive online.
No, I saw
them
in Walmart last weekend, and I just so lazy. Like the Undertaker looks kind of cool because he's translucent and like purple is like the green belt and everything. Like barely passable. But everything else, I'm just like, Stone Cold doesn't need to be a Ghostbuster. This doesn't make sense. Now,
I'll be honest, I didn't know about the Undertaker thing. I just thought there was
the Undertaker figure looks cool, just based like.
And who's he supposed to be? Did you say? What is he supposed to be?
Well, I guess he would sort of be, I guess, like Gozer, technically, in a way.
Oh, okay. Did they do a Slimer? Is somebody Slimer or no? I don't know all the things.
No, it's just the translucent Undertaker, and then for Ghostbusters, it's The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels. Yeah, it's pretty.
It doesn't sound fun. It doesn't.
It's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know all the stuff about it, but all right. Well, let's see. Keldor said he'd buy the D&D figures. I know. Like I said, I think everybody would. They make them. Zentron said, "Have you seen my recent 4K UHD Dungeons and Dragons clip, Joe?" I might have seen that, Zentron, but if not, you can always, just on Facebook send me that in a message. I don't know if I've seen it. I've seen a lot of stuff you do, which is really cool. Really cool. Adam Gabbert says, Nathan and Joe between 1 and 10, 1 sucks, 10 for excellent for Filmation She-Ra and new She-Ra on Netflix. What do you give those? Well, the original She-Ra, I'm going to give a 9. I'd love to give it a 10, but, obviously it couldn't do as much edge as probably they would have liked. And on the same blood and stuff, but there could have been just a little more oomph to it. But, it's great. I give it 9. New She-Ra, 1. There's nothing for me that I enjoy. Nothing at all.
Just go ahead and give me Joe's ratings. Man, like, I can't believe I watched that entire first season of that Netflix She-Ra. That episode with the dance was like one of the worst things I've seen. Papa Hud says Nathan is hating on Masters of the WWE Universe so hard. I like the ring. We specified that. I came around to the ring. I think having the ring would be kind of cool and putting some of the vintage figures in there to make like a little display. That's probably something that I would do in terms of putting WWE characters in there. Some of them work. Some of them just seem kind of shoehorned and I wouldn't say lazy, but they got to think of something like, oh, what can we do with John Cena? Like I think the New Day Manny Faces, I think that's brilliant because you think about it, like that's cool. Yeah, like that put some thought and effort into it. But
Rey Mysterio actually makes me like Stratos now. That's actually a cool one. I enjoy that. Shut up. But no, and here's the thing about that ring, though. I'll tell you what pisses me off about the one that they have at stores right now. It's the one, remember, no figures. We still got to wait for figures, but I don't know if it's an online exclusive. They are going to have a ring with 2 figures, but the thing is, I think that outer art shell is different, and it pisses me off because, I love the Ultimate Warrior in this ring that's at the stores now. All I want is the box art. I don't want the ring.
I still haven't seen the ring anywhere because I'll probably pick that up at least if I.
But why? Why do they do the ring now and later they're going to give you the ring with 2 figures and it's just a little more expensive? It's like, well, of course I'm going to get the ring with 2 figures. I don't want this ring by itself, but I want the art. I don't understand it.
Think about it, Joe. Like parents are probably going to be different. I can already see it now. I'm walking down the aisle. Like it's like, oh, mommy, they have the one with the 2 figures. You already have the ring. Why do you want another one? I kind of hate to see that when I walk in stores. Like I'm never gonna have a kid, but I think if I were a parent, I'm just saying. My mom's extremely disappointed by that. But if I were to have a kid, and they were like well behaved and good, and just like kids are kids, but if I'm in a store and they want something and it's like $1, like, why are you gonna say no to that? Like, it's only $1. Like, who cares?
Maybe they think once they get that, they're going to want more and more and more and more. I don't know. I seen a kid today at Dollar Tree freak out because he couldn't get something from his mom. She said, "No, you got two things, you can't get the other." And you're right. I was thinking, damn, it's just $1 more. But if, I don't know.
Yeah,
they might not have the money.
And there's the difference. Like, they're already getting two things, right? I don't know. Joe and I shouldn't start talking about parental tips because
right, who am I to say?
I think Joe and I would probably be terrible parents. Let's...
Right. My kid will be like, eating the cheapest shit in the world.
My God.
Your kid will have
you would have your kid like hanging in the dumpster trying to reach real low and you got it by the ankles. Like, just a little bit more. Oh, you got it. Way to go.
We got it. We got the Whopper.
Yeah, with a little bit of mold on the bread, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. Just pick that off.
I mean, if something's still good, yeah. So I don't. Yeah,
Joe,
I definitely couldn't be giving it. You're right. I couldn't be giving him advice. Zentron said something. I'm not quite sure what. Zentron said classic She-Ra has trounced the reboot She-Ra at the USCFL, just in case anybody wants or is aware of. Now I'm gonna have to ask you, Nathan, because I'm a moron. What is USCFL? What is it?
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Well, we have the United States Committee for a Free Lebanon, and we have the United States Cartoon Football League. We're gonna have to.
That's what he said it is. Okay. He just put it down there.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, cool, Zentron. I never heard of it.
I think the Free Lebanon thing would have probably worked better. I don't know.
Fedmon has a question for us. Between putting our balls in a vice or binge watching new She-Ra, which would you rather do? Well, I mean, honestly, yeah, I hate the new She-Ra, but I'm not gonna have my balls in a vice. I'd have to do it.
The Hot Topic girls wouldn't like that too much, or maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe they're into that kind of thing. Cool. And see, this is why I had to mark the channel 18 or over. Can't have kids popping in here like, oh yeah, He-Man. Oh,
I don't know if you. Honestly, I don't know if you ever been punched in the balls.
Has Dad ever put his balls in a vice? I can see it now.
I mean, I was punched in the balls one time hard, and boy, that just talk about it. You feel like everything in your stomach don't feel right. It goes to your throat.
Yes.
It is.
And then I don't know about you, but I would be like gassy the rest of the day.
I wasn't gassy, but it happened to school, and I was off the whole rest of the day. It takes the wind out of you, and it makes you like.
What happened?
It was just a fight in class. And
you got into a fight. You got into a fight with someone, and they kicked you in the balls.
Punched me in the balls. And of course, we both went to the principal, but we didn't get suspended or anything because we were friends. But it just a heated thing happened. And,
all right. Well, what were you fighting about? It was a girl, wasn't it?
Married with children.
All right. Well, I remember, you may as well just tell the story. I'm going to stop asking you questions. Joe, go ahead. Tell us the story.
We were talking about the episode where Al finds gold. Remember, he goes gold mining and everything. It was one of my favorite episodes, and I was doing an imitation of Al's voice, and he said it was like, man, it's a terrible imitation. And, I thought, okay, he's just giving it to me, razzing me. But then he was mocking my voice and trying to, like, make it seem like I was really sounding stupid as I said it. I said, quit. I said, would you fucking quit? And then that's when teacher said, Joe, you don't say that. Don't ever say it. And then he kept saying it. And I got up. We got in each other's face. I punched him in the chest. He punched me in the balls. It was over.
Wait, when you punched him in the chest... So I'm trying to imagine that, like, you're roughly the same height. So basically, he punches you in the chest, or you punch him in the chest. Does he just like double back like this and then just immediately punch down?
Well,
or did he kind of like fall down and then was just like uppercutted you?
No, it was a back thing and then coming at me, and I didn't expect it. Like I said, even though he's my friend, I'm pissed. I still couldn't bring myself to punch him in the face, but he sure brought it to himself to punch me right in the balls, and I was down like a ton of. I mean, it was it. I was done.
Were the other kids just like laughing at you guys? Like,
it was the ooh from the balls, and then laughing as we were leaving, being sent to the principal's office. So I would have thought that Married with Children was the first time I got in a fight with one of my friends.
Joe, that does sound about right for you because I do seem to remember Steven Seagal, and we won't go into that, but. Don't mess with Joe and the things that he really, really likes. So,
It was such a stupid thing. Like I said,
it happens. The one time I got hit in the balls really hard is the girl I was dating at the time. I was in 8th grade, and we were at my cousin's house, and she had this pool, and she had her friends, and she was friends with my girlfriend. And I went to go like push her in because that's what, ha ha ha, you do that kind of thing. But she was in front of me, and when I went to go, like, she grabbed onto my arm and was like starting to tug, and then she just like mule kicked me.
Ooh,
right in the balls,
right in the nuts,
and
huh?
I dropped. And
That's it.
Unimaginable pain. And then I was gassy the rest of the night because it feels like your stomach. It feels like your stomach's just like right up here.
It does. That's why, like I said, I wasn't gassy, but you're right. Your stomach, it moves, and then your throat, it's like locked up. And then it's just a horrible. It's like you think your nuts would be the thing that are really having the issue. Yeah, they're aching and they're in pain, especially the next day. But that just punch, that sets it, or for you, the mule kick sets it right in the throat. So I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That's a nasty feeling. I hope you guys never experienced that if you haven't.
Yeah, some of our friends back in the day, back in high school, that's the game that they would play. Let's try to hit each other in the nuts. And
how was that fun? I used to see that too, and I was like, "Don't you guys ever play that?" I was like,
I never partook in that game. I was like, if any of you hit me in the nuts, if I'm not down on the ground, then you will be, because I'm gonna punch you in the face. But one of my friends got hit in the balls with the flat side of a hammer. I don't know why I thought it was funny, but he's got 3 kids now, so I guess it didn't do too much damage.
How did the show know? But look at that, we turned into nuts talk at the end of the show. You're right. I'm glad this is reviewed or rated for adult content.
So when that warning comes up, if you guys are not verified on your accounts, it'll be like, "Are you over 18?" Then sorry about that, but this is why.
Oh, did they actually put a verification before this show started?
I think someone said, I was wondering why I had to expect that warning before it let me in the video chat. So yeah, I didn't want to do it, but it's just this new regulation thing, and I don't want to get us in trouble. So
okay, well, no, I'm glad. Yeah, definitely put that up, because I didn't know it was already almost coming into effect. But I think we got pretty much everybody in the chat room, and it went into a strange story.
Now everyone's just gonna start sharing their stories about all the times that they've been hitting the nuts, and that's kind of the beauty of this show, right? Is it brings everybody together. We all have common ground.
Like I said, especially the end, but that's a new context, remember. At the beginning, guys, I'll address who I see right before I start the show, but as I'm doing the show, because I know I'm going to have to be looking at Nathan, or if I look at other stuff, I might not see all the chats, so we'll save all the rest of the names and shout-outs towards the end during this segment.
There is one more question from Papa Hoods. Any more classic He-Man artwork that you're going to revise, Joe?
Oh, I like doing any of them. Like I said, there's a lot of hidden gems from those sticker books, the coloring books, and a lot of the international ads have some really amazing pieces, but they're always, cursed with having the crease right in the middle. So, yeah, I'll repair a lot of them. I like sharing those online, doing the repairing the art, fixing it, and redrawing parts. But yeah, I'll do a lot more. I'll share those, definitely. And I did see Zentron said, "Don't miss the movie quote," so I'm going to look up real quick before I, do my closings. But Zentron's movie quote, "I swear I will not kill anyone." I think that has to be Arnold from Terminator 2, but you never know. There could have been a lot of other movies that said that, but I'm thinking that's what he might have meant, was Terminator 2, and it was from Schwarzenegger. So, okay, well, again, I want to thank every one of you guys for joining us here in the chat room, and, hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, we got a little discussion on the 2000X comic that you can go search out for in that 2-pack singles or that Dark Horse book. And yes, I'm done with She-Ra now. And for, like I said, anybody new to the chat room, or new to this page, make sure you like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you always get notified when we go live. And wait, one more thing, Fedmon. Joe, do you just do custom figures, or do you also do custom accessories? I mean, I've made custom weapons and things, so I guess if there's a weird weapon you made, I could always do that too. So yeah, I've make weapons too. So thanks, Fedmon.
Hit Joe up.
And
link is in the description below.
All right, and until next time, have a powerful day.
All right, Joe. This one's another softball and away wrestling question. The Stone Cold and The Rock have faced each other how many times at WrestleMania, and which WrestleManias were they?
I just lost because I don't know how many times they faced each other, and I couldn't tell you the WrestleManias. Like some of the old school stuff, as you seen, like last week, I got, but I actually
were you not watching during the Attitude Era?
I was, but I couldn't see as many as the pay-per-views because when I was growing up, my cousin always got the WWF ones, so I always was able to see them. But when it came to the Attitude Era, I didn't have anybody that watched them, so
that's honestly kind of strange because that's when it was at its peak popularity, I thought. But
I know, but nobody.
So do you want to take a crack at it?
Okay, well, I would guess they had to face each other at least 3 times.
Yes.
Okay, and since WrestleMania's, I don't know, 16, 20, 21, nope. I don't know what.
They faced off at WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 17, which is...
And I said 16, I was right between, damn it.
One of the best builds and one of the best video packages for a main event I've ever seen, and that ending I still can't. But anyway... WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 17, and then their final encounter at WrestleMania 19, which ultimately ended up being Stone Cold's last match. I'm sure some people would be like, yeah, but he faced Eric Bischoff in a match. I'm like, I don't count that. So, yeah, there we go.
Okay, well, you got me. But, okay, guys, it was fun. See you next time.